Hi, I'm Leslie. Welcome to Yoga Flow. Today's practice will be a level 1-2 slow vinyasa. Level 1-2 means it's just below intermediate level, and I will offer some modifications to spice it up if you want to practice at more of a level 2. I recommend having 2 yoga blocks, one near the front of your mat and one near the back of your mat. We'll be focusing on moon salutations today. So moon salutations are traditionally practiced around the time of a full moon, which it is on the day that I'm recording, but it doesn't have to be a full moon out for you to do this practice. Full moon practice is a little more of a introspective, there's more focus on forward bends and side bends, and less of a focus on fiery poses such as back bends and sun salutations. So it's just a little bit of a slower, more of a grounded practice, but still a vinyasa. And we'll be doing 3 separate flows. 2 are specifically moon salutations, and one is just something that's just fluid and graceful and balancing and fun. So we'll go through both at least 2 times, all 3 of those flows at least 2 times before finishing up lower on the mat. And towards the end, we'll be doing a shoulder stand, and that is always, always optional. I just want you to be very careful if there's anything going on in your neck, such as herniated discs or any discomfort. I recommend that you do not do shoulder stand, and I'll offer you an option in lieu of shoulder stand. And I'll talk you through shoulder stand when we get there. So let's just start, please, in a kneeling position facing the front of the mat. You can have a block between your feet and sit on that for your kneeling. I just happen to have my folded blanket here, so I'm going to go ahead and sit on that. If you're comfortable just sitting on your shins, then you can do that as well. But having a little bit of a lift might make this a little softer in the knees and in the ankles. So sitting on your shins here, feet are just tucked under you. Let your eyes close. And we'll start to find the breath here. So you're rising up through the spine. Start to find an ujjayi breath. So ujjayi means victorious, and physiologically it's a slight constriction to the back of the throat. You breathe through the nose, and your breath makes more of a whispering sound, both the inhale and the exhale. It's a little easier to find it on the exhale, but with practice, you'll find it on the inhale as well. This has a lot of purposes, this ujjayi breath, one of which is it focuses the mind. Helps to just sweep away any mental distractions. With your mind's eye, take a look at your spine, your posture. Notice if you're slumping or rounding through the shoulders. Can you lengthen up through the spine? Soften the shoulder blades down your back. Hands are just soft on your legs. And let's do one more breath like this. Okay, and then you'll remove whatever prop you've been sitting on and just come to kneeling in the middle of your mat. Let's inhale, come up high onto the knees, reach the arms up overhead, and we'll come into child's pose. So as your hips move back, your hands stack on your sacrum, palms face up, and your forehead comes down. And then as you inhale, you rise back up to high kneeling, arms reach up, look up. Exhale, hands to the heart, and just sit on your heels. Do that again. Inhale, reach up through the arms, hips are under you. Exhale, sweep the arms out to the side, come to child's pose. Hands stack on your sacrum, forehead down. Inhale, rise up to high kneeling, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart, just sit on your heels. Do this one more time. Inhale, hips come over your knees, arms reach up, look up. Exhale to child's pose. Stack the hands on your sacrum, forehead down. Inhale up to high kneeling. Let your arms reach up. You're just standing on your knees. And exhale, hands to your heart, hips down on your heels. Take the hands back to the floor behind you, so right under the shoulders, and you'll release your right foot to the floor just underneath the knee. So you're on your left shin still. Push into the right foot and lift up through your hips. So hopefully you're feeling a bit of a quad stretch on the left leg. Breathe here. And then you'll unwind your left leg and reach it up. Cross the left thigh over the right, lower the hips, and take both of your legs to the right, nice and slow. Take it easy, coming into the twist. Unwind the legs, lift your hips, reach your left leg back up. Now take your left leg out to the left and hover the hips still. So your left hip is a little lower. Reach the left leg back up, cross the left thigh over the right, lower the hips down. Exhale, let's twist this to the right again. And one more time, bring the knees back up, lift the hips, take the left leg up, take the left leg out to the side. Can you lengthen out through the knee, flex through the ankle, the hips are still hovering. And then you're going to tuck the left ankle behind the right and bring the hips down. Let's bring the legs into a Z shape. So you have the right knee against the left foot. Your knees are pointing to the left. Reach your arms up overhead, hook your thumbs. And then we're going to just bring the feet to the edges of the mat and slowly swivel the legs from one side to another. And you'll find that you're working your way towards the front of the mat. At the same time, you're twisting your torso. So you're trying to keep the torso reaching towards the front of your mat. Keep your pulling out on your thumbs. Keep your elbows wide. So it's as if you're twisting your torso away from your knees here. Once you're at the very top of your mat, place the feet down and push yourself up into a squat. So your toes are turned out, your feet are wide on the mat, your hips are low, you're reaching up through the spine. And then place your hands down on the ground and walk your feet back, downward facing dog, and pause here. Let your toes reach forward, your heels reach back. Let the head turn slowly side to side here, just wringing out any tension in the sides of the neck. Lower your knees down to the floor. Do one round of cat-cow. Arch on the inhale, round on the exhale. Arch on the inhale. Child's pose, exhale. Take the arms back behind you, and we'll start this all over again. So inhale, rise up to high kneeling, arms reach up. Exhale, circle the arms down, bring the hands back to the sacrum, lower down into child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling, arms come up overhead, firm your thighs here, hips under you. Exhale, sit back, hands to your heart. And again, inhale, your arms reach up, look up. Exhale, hands to your sacrum, palms face up, and lower the forehead down, child's pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up, look up, your hips are forward. And hands to your heart as you sit back on your heels. One more time, and then we'll move on. Inhale, lift up through the arms, standing on your knees. Exhale, child's pose. Last time, palms stack on your sacrum, forehead down. Inhale, rise up to high kneeling, firm your thighs, hips forward. And hands to your heart as you sit back on your heels. Okay, bring the hands back to the floor behind you again. This time, release your left foot. Bring it to the floor just under the knee. So you have your right shin down still, and then push into your right foot and lift your hips. So feeling hopefully a stretch through the right quad here. You're pressing down into the right foot. And then you'll release the right leg out from under you. Take it up into the air, cross the right thigh over the left, and lower your hips down. And let's take both of the legs nice and gentle to the left. Come back through center with the legs. Inhale, lift the hips, reach the left leg up. Keep the leg straight and send it, right leg up. Keep the right leg straight and send it out to the right. And extend out through the knee. Your right hip is a little lower. And then reach your right leg back up again. Cross the right thigh over left and lower the hips. Exhale both of your legs over to the left. And one more time, unwind. Inhale, lift the hips, reach the leg up. Take the right leg out to the side. The right hip is a little bit lower, but it's still hovering. And then bend the right knee and tuck the right ankle behind the left ankle, lower the hips. Come upright and bring both of your legs in a Z shape. So about 90-degree bend or so in both knees. The right foot is against the left knee. And you're going to reach your arms up overhead, hook your thumbs again, and hook them the other way. There's a familiar way and an unfamiliar way. So this time it's going to be more the unfamiliar way. And then you'll start to swivel your legs from side to side. So you're just rolling on the edges of the feet. You're lighter in the feet, you're heavier in the hips, and you're just letting the knees come from one side and then the other. And then you're trying to twist your torso away from your knees. So keep turning the torso away from the knees as you're swiveling and you're starting to travel towards the top of the mat. Pulling out on the thumbs. Once you get to the top of the mat, stay here. Feet to the floor, feet are wide, come up into a squat. Palms together, so you can slide a folded blanket under your heels here if the heels are not on the ground in a squat. Eventually the Achilles will likely release and your heels will come down with practice of this. Reach up through the base of your skull. And then place the hands on the floor and step it back again to downward facing dog. Reach the toes forward. Try to turn your inner thighs and rotate them back. Now, it's not going to be a very visible or obvious movement. It's more of an intention. And I don't want the kneecaps rotating in, so the kneecaps point forward, but it's firming the inner thighs, and imagine that you're trying to send them back behind you. So we're just deepening the femur bones in the hip sockets. All right, so we're going to go with our first moon salutation. We're going to start from downward dog, which is kind of an odd way of doing it. Normally we would start from standing, but we're going for it here. We're being creative. So let's inhale and take the right leg up into the air behind you, three-legged dog, and step the right foot between your hands. Lower the left knee. Inhale, reach the arms up, Anjaneyasana. This is also called Surya Namaskar C, but it's also moon salutation. So bring the hands to the floor and step your back foot forward, come into a forward fold. Push down into your feet and let's inhale, rise up. The difference here between this and sun salutations is we're not jumping. Lower the hands to the heart and come forward and down. Uttanasana. Bend your knees, inhale, lengthen halfway forward. Step the right foot back, lower the knee. Inhale, the arms rise up, Anjaneyasana. So it's the moon flow is a softer practice. Hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Softer on the joints, softer on the nervous system. Then like a power flow or lots of sun salutations. Push the hands into the floor, reach the heels back. And other side, inhale, your left leg rises behind you. Exhale, step the left foot between your hands. Lower your back knee. Inhale, your arms rise up, Anjaneyasana. Tailbone down, lift through the low belly. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step forward, Uttanasana. Push down into the feet and rise up. A little bend in the knees as you come up. It'll be nicer on your back. Arms reach up at the top. Hands come right down through center as you forward fold. Lengthen halfway forward as you bend the knees. Inhale. Step the left foot back, lower the back knee. Inhale, the arms reach up to Anjaneyasana. And hands come to the floor. Step it back, downward facing dog. We're going to flow through a very low vinyasa, so it won't be chaturanga, up dog. It'll just be what's called Ashtanga Namaskar, knees, chest, chin, as we lower to our bellies. So inhale here in downward dog. Exhale, lower first your knees, but keep your butt kind of high. And then just come forward like you're an airplane coming in for a landing until your chest comes down between your hands, your hips are down. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, come up to cobra pose. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. And we'll repeat that sequence all over. Inhale, your right leg rises behind you. Let's add on those. So let's open the right hip and bend the knee. This is our scorpion dog. Straighten the legs, square off the hips. Step the right foot between your hands. Lower the back knee down. Inhale, the arms reach up, Anjaneyasana. Hands come to the floor. Then step forward, Uttanasana. Feet hips distance apart. Push down into the feet. Inhale, rise up to stand, arms reach up. Exhale, hands come down through the middle, all the way back down to the floor. Bend the knees. Inhale, reach the spine halfway forward. Exhale, step the right foot back, lower the knee. Inhale, the arms reach up. Hips start to go more forward every time you come into this pose, and then touch the hands down to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale here in downward dog, and exhale. Inhale last time. Exhale, lower the knees down. Keep the knees high, and then lower the chest down to the floor between your hands and lower the hips and the tops of the feet. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale, cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then one more time, leading with the left leg. So inhale, your left leg rises. Open the hip and bend the knee. Straighten the legs, square off the hips. Step the left foot between your hands. Lower the back knee. Inhale, the arms rise up to Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands come to the floor. Step forward, Uttanasana. Push down into the feet. Inhale, rise up to stand. Arms reach up. Exhale, come right back down through center. Uttanasana. Bend the knees. Inhale, reach the spine forward. Exhale, left foot steps back, lower the knee. Inhale, the arms reach up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands come to the floor. Step it back, downward facing dog. Let's take about 3 breaths here. Keep reaching the tops of your thighs back. Every exhale, you soften the heart down. Last inhale. And exhale. Now we'll just prep to lower down. Inhale here, reach the thigh creases back. Exhale, lower the knees down. Lower the chest down between your hands, and then you lower the hips and the tops of the feet. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale, cobra pose. And exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we're going to move on to our second sequence. So we're done with those moon salutations here. So this is a bit of a balancy, flowy practice. Let's begin. Inhale, your right leg rises behind you. Exhale, your right foot steps between your hands. Rise up to crescent warrior. On the same inhale, bring your left knee up and hover. Take your left leg out to the side and straighten the leg. Take your arms out to the side. Bring your legs forward, arms up. Take your left leg back to warrior 3, and can you reach your arms forward? Stay here for an inhale. And exhale, reach out through your back leg. Step back to a lunge, but keep your arms reaching forward. This is going to load up your front leg. And now exhale, lower both of your hands down. Actually, just the left hand down. Sweep the right arm back behind you and look over your right shoulder. Look towards your back hand. Exhale, reach your top arm up and over like you're pushing the air forward of you. Inhale, reach the arm back, turn the palm up. Exhale, push your right arm up and over and down to the floor. Inhale, reach back, turn the palm up, look back. Exhale, push up and down, bring both hands to the floor. Bring your right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, bring your right knee forward, your thigh is towards your chest, shoulders are over your wrists. Inhale, straighten your right leg behind you. Cross the right ankle over the left ankle. Lower both of your heels to the left. Inhale your arms up. Now, I said this is level 1, 2. So if you need to, you can lower your bottom knee down for support. And then we'll take this back to downward facing dog. Okay, so left side. Inhale, your left leg rises behind you. Exhale, your left foot steps forward. Rise up to crescent on the inhale, and on the same inhale, bring your right knee up in balance. Take your right leg out to the side and straighten the leg, and you can keep the knee bent if that would be better for you. Take your right leg forward, reach your arms up, and then come into warrior 3. Now, arms forward is going to really intensify this pose, so if you'd rather have hands on hips, that's fine. Take one more breath here, level your hips, and then step it back to crescent. But reach your arms forward or hands on your hips. One more breath here, inhale. And now lower your hands to the floor. Right hand is down, left arm comes back, turn the palm up, look back. This is your inhale. Exhale, your arm comes up and over your body and towards the ground. And then inhale, sweep it back, look back. So your hips lower down a little bit on the inhale, and as you exhale, you lift the hips a little bit as you push your left arm up and over towards the front, and then inhale, reach it back last time. Turn the palm up. Exhale, push the arm up and over. Place the left hand down, and inhale, your left leg lifts up and back behind you, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to chest, shoulders over wrists. Inhale, straighten the left leg behind you, still in plank. Cross the left ankle over the right ankle and lower your heels to the right and come into side plank. And remember, you can lower your bottom knee down here if you'd like to. And then lower your hands to the floor and just come back to downward dog. So not a lot of vinyasas, not a lot of back bends in this practice today. Mostly working on these forward bends, a few balance poses. There'll be some side bends coming up in a moment. All right, so let's go through that sequence one more time and then we will move on. So here we go. Inhale, your right leg rises behind you. Step the right foot between your hands. Inhale, rise on up, crescent warrior. Same inhale, left knee comes up and you balance. Take the leg out to the side. Optional, straighten the leg. Can you lift the leg high if it's straight? Take the leg forward. Swing it back, warrior 3. Arms forward is going to be more intermediate. Hands on hips if that would feel nicer for you. One more breath here, level your hips. Step it back to a lunge, but keep your arms reaching forward if you can. It's going to load up your front leg, so hands can be on hips here. One more inhale. Lower the left hand down. Sweep the right arm behind you, turn the palm up, inhale. Exhale, reach the arm up and over like you're really actively pushing the air beyond the top of your head. Inhale, reach the arm back, turn the palm up. Exhale, lift the hips up a little bit, push the arm up and down. One more time. Inhale, reach back, your hips descend a little bit. Exhale, push up and over, both hands down. Right leg up into the air behind you, three-legged dog. Shift forward, knee to chest in a plank variation. Now stay in plank, extend the right leg behind you and hover the leg. Cross the right ankle over the left. Roll onto the outer edge of to the left side of your feet and lift your right arm up, side plank Vashisthasana. Or bottom knee down. Lower both hands to the floor. Downward dog or child's pose, if you'd like. We'll be here for just a few breaths, so if you want to take a rest here, please do. Child's pose optional. Or downward dog. We just have one more side to go. If you're in child's pose and you want to join us, come back to downward dog. Inhale, your left leg rises behind you. Three-legged dog. Exhale, step the left foot between your hands. Inhale, come on up to crescent warrior. Same inhale, your right knee comes up and you're balancing. Take your right leg out to the side. Maybe straighten the leg out to the side. Take your right leg forward. Exhale, warrior three. Arms forward if you can. I seem to be getting closer and closer to this wall in front of me. So holding onto the wall with my hands would be cheating. But you have permission to do that if that would help you. And then step it back to a lunge. Stay hinging forward. Stay reaching forward, looking down at your big toe. And lower your right hand down. Take your left arm back. Turn the palm up. Look back. Inhale here. Exhale. Push the arm up and over. Your hips come up a little bit as you exhale. And then as you inhale and twist back, you lower the hips a little bit. Exhale, push the arm up and over you. Inhale, reach back, turn the palm up, look back. Exhale, push and over. All right, three-legged dog. Left leg up into the air. And then bring the knee to the chest. Pause here. Straighten the left leg behind you and hover it. Cross the left ankle over the right, lower your heels to the right, and reach your left arm up. Make sure your right biceps are pointing forward, so you've got an external rotation in the arm. And then lower the left hand, downward facing dog. If you are really, really craving a back bend, I do not want to take that away from you. Absolutely, you can do a vinyasa here, you can come down and do a cobra pose, or lower your knees and do a camel pose. Nothing wrong with that. I do try to keep most of my classes, my practices, so that we're really balancing out the movements of the spine. So let's look forward and walk the feet to the top of the mat. Fold in your Uttanasana. Just hang here. If you want to clasp opposite elbows here and let the head hang down, you can. If you want to do this with your knees bent, you can, or legs straight. And when I do hold opposite elbows lately, what I've been doing, instead of literally holding the elbows, I bring my pinky fingers, both pinky fingers, to the inner elbow crease. And that way the hands are not gripping anything and the hands stay relaxed. You're just letting the hands just passively rest onto the arm bones. Let the head release here. Breathing smooth and even. And then you'll push down into the feet. Release the hands if you haven't already. Push into the feet and come on up to stand. Reach the arms up overhead at the top. And hands to the heart, exhale. Okay, so next moon salutations are from a Kripalu, which is a style of yoga. And in this one, there are no downward dogs, there are no vinyasas, there's no back bends, no chaturangas. I'm going to start facing this side of my mat, so that way I minimize having my back to you. And we will be in a pyramid pose on both sides of the mat. We'll be moving from front to back, and then back to the front again. So if you know that you want a block for your pyramid pose, which, by the way, if you're wondering, is this, have a block, one at the top and one at the back. So that way I'll instruct you how to position it if you need that for your hands. Okay? So stand at the top of the mat. I just moved to the other side so you could see me a little better. You can stay right where you are. And then have your feet about hips distance apart. Inner edges of your feet are parallel. You're just starting in your mountain pose. And lengthen up through the spine. So we're not trying to exaggerate the curves, but we're not trying to flatten the curves either. Just find the natural S curves of the spine. Lift up through the crown of the head. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Step the right foot back and come into a horse pose. So turn your toes and your knees out, bend your elbows. Find Gyan Mudra where the thumb and the index fingertips touch. Bend the elbows in. And then inhale, reach the arms up. We're going to come right into triangle pose to the back. So turn your right toes to the back of the mat and exhale, lower your right hand down, triangle. This first round through will go really nice and slow until you got the sequence. And then we'll go through another 2 or 3 times after that, and we'll move with the breath. So from triangle pose, lengthen out here, inhale. And then we'll take this to pyramid pose. So turn your torso over your right leg, adjust your back foot so it's angled in a little bit, and lower your hands to the floor. So here's where you might want the block. You'd place it inside the front foot and have both of your hands on the block. Your front leg is going to be mostly straight here in your pyramid pose. And then take this to a lunge. So send your left foot back and find a runner's lunge, reach towards the back of the mat. Pivot a quarter turn and find a side lunge in your right knee. Hips can be higher if you need to. And then side lunge into the left knee. We're going to unravel that sequence the same way we came in. Lunge facing the front of your mat, so you have your left foot forward. And then pyramid pose. Bring your back foot in an inch or two. Lower the heel. The foot is slightly angled out. You can have the block inside your left foot with hands on block if you need to. Front leg is mostly straight. And then from here, triangle pose. So we adjust the back foot. You turn the right foot out a little bit and bring it behind you another inch or so. Left hand on the shin, right arm reaches up. You could also use the block under your left hand. From triangle pose, rise on up to horse pose. Turn the toes out. Bend the elbows, Gyan Mudra, thumb and index tips touch. Inhale, straighten the arms and the legs. And exhale, step to the top of the mat. Okay? So we're going to do that whole sequence on the left leg. This time I will have my back to you. So lower the arms down, exhale. Inhale, the arms reach up. Step the left foot back, just part way, and come into horse pose. So toes turn out, knees turn out, elbows bend, thumb and index tips touch. Inhale, straighten the arms and the legs. Exhale, triangle pose to the back. Turn the left toes to face the back wall and bring the left hand down onto the shin. Right arm reaches up. You're reaching the spine out of your hips. You could also use the block under your left hand. Inhale here. Exhale, you're going to slowly rotate. You might want to come up with the spine part way before you rotate so you're looking down. And adjust your back foot. It's going to come out laterally to the side and the toes are going to turn slightly forward. So your hips are level, and then you lower your hands down. And here's where you might want to block on the inside of your left foot. This is pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. And then we'll take this to a lunge. So bend your front knee, bring your right foot back. Front knee bent 90 degrees, hands under your shoulders. And then turn and pivot a quarter turn so that you're in a side lunge. Your toes are turned out a little bit. Side lunge into your right leg. Regular runner's lunge facing forward. Inhale here. Exhale, straighten your front leg. Bring your back foot in an inch or two and lower the heel. So your back foot, your left foot is angled out just a little bit, tiny bit. And you're moving your right hip back. Hands can be on a block here. And then we'll take this to pyramid pose. So adjust your back foot again so it's turned out and it's a little farther behind you. Heel of your front foot is lined up with the arch of your back foot. Right hand is on the shin, left arm is reaching up. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. And then let's rise upright, back into horse, turn the toes and the knees out, bend the knees, lower the elbows in towards the ribs. Inhale, reach the arms up, straighten the legs. Exhale, step to the top of the mat. Okay? Got all that? Let's do that again. We'll move a little bit more with the breath, so we'll just speed it up a little bit, but we'll keep the breath still nice and slow and steady. Finding your mountain pose here, feet directly under the hip sockets, hands to the heart, lift up through the base of your skull. Exhale, lower the arms down. Reach the arms up, inhale. Step the right foot back, face the long edge of the mat, horse pose, toes and knees are turned out, elbows come in. Inhale, reach the arms up, straighten the legs. Triangle pose to the back, right toes turn to the back wall, right hand comes to the shin, reach up through the top arm. And then exhale, you turn your torso to face over your right leg, adjust your back foot in a little bit, and lower your hands down. Use the blocks here if you need to. Bend your front knee and lunge, regular runner's lunge, towards the back of the mat. Pivot on your feet to face the long side of the mat, side lunge in the right knee. Side lunge in the left knee. Inhale to lunge facing forward, the front of the mat. Exhale, bring your back foot in an inch or two, lower the heel and straighten the front leg, pyramid pose. Inhale, turn your back toes out, move the foot another inch or two back, triangle pose. Left hand on shin, right arm reaches up. One more breath here, reaching the spine forward. And on your next inhale, rise up back into horse pose. Turn the toes and the knees out. Gyan Mudra, thumb tips, index tips touch. Inhale, straighten arms and legs. Exhale, step to the top of the mat. Hands to your heart. And let's do this one more time. Lower the arms down. Inhale, reach up through the arms. Step the left foot back and come into horse pose. Knees are turned out, bend the knees, lower the hips. Inhale, reach the arms up. Triangle pose towards the back of your mat, so over your left leg. Inhale here. Exhale, turn your upper body over your left leg. Adjust the back foot so the heel is down. The toes are pointed a little more forward. Both hands down, front leg straight. And then inhale, bend your front knee, runner's lunge. Exhale, side lunge in your left knee, facing the long edge of the mat. Side lunge in the right knee. Turn and lunge, face the front of the mat, runner's lunge. And then straighten the front leg, bring the back foot in about an inch or two, lower the heel, pyramid pose. And then triangle pose, adjust the back foot, turn it out, right hand on the shin, left arm reaches up. You're tucking the right hip under you here. And then rise upright. You're stood in horse pose long to the long edge of the mat. Bend the knees, open them out. Inhale, reach the arms up, straighten the legs. Step to the top of the mat. Hands to your heart. Pause here. Find your breath. Close your eyes. Take your feet a little wider, turn the toes out, come back down into a squat. Reach up high through the base of your skull, let the tailbone lengthen down. Try to move the thumbs towards your heart. And then lower your hips all the way down to the floor. So we're going to work on one of my most favorite sequences. There's a little bit of core, a little bit of plow, and a little bit of reverse plank. So plow pose. I don't want to deviate from our practice too much, but plow pose is this, where you hold on to the hips and you take the toes to the floor over your head. This is not for everybody. So if that creates any strain at all in the neck and the spine, your option will be a half shoulder stand, where you hold on to the hips and your legs are angled up overhead. Okay? Because we're going to be through the poses with the breath. So when I instruct plow pose, and that that's just too much for you, do the half shoulder stand. Kicking the block out of the way here. So sit in the middle of your mat and come into boat pose. So you can have knees bent here. You can even hold on to the back of the legs if you'd like. Pause. Okay. So come into boat pose here. You can have knees bent or legs straight. This will be a little more intense in the core with the legs straight. You can also hold the back of your legs here if you want to have it not quite so intense. All right, so Navasana, boat pose. Exhale, half boat. You just lower everything closer to the floor, but you're still hovering. Inhale, back up to boat. Exhale, you're going to rock back, lift your hips, catch the hips in your hands, and then either stay here in half shoulder stand or lower your toes to the floor, coming into plow pose. And then roll yourself back up to boat pose. Lower your legs all the way down and come into Paschimottanasana, our forward fold. And then come up right in the spine, bring the hands to the floor behind you, angle the fingers out a little bit, bend the elbows, lift up through the hips. You can do reverse tabletop, by the way, if you don't want to do reverse plank, with your feet on the floor, your knees bent. So bend your elbows, lift your heart and then lift your hips. This is our reverse plank pose. And lower the hips down. Inhale, legs up, boat pose. I have a feeling I'm having microphone issues here. Pause, pause. Okay, there we go. Lower half boat. Inhale, back up to boat pose. And rock back. Lift your hips. Catch the hips in your hands. Either half shoulder stand here or lower the toes. Oh, to the floor, coming into plow. If this is any strain on your neck, bring the legs back up. And then lower your hips down. Come back up into boat. Inhale. Lift up through the spine and lower your legs to the floor, Paschimottanasana. And we're not rounding forward in Paschimottanasana, our seated forward bend. Think of more lengthening your spine forward. And then come back upright, bring the hands to the floor, wrists are under your shoulders, or you can do reverse tabletop with the feet on the floor, knees bent. Lift up through the heart, start with the elbows bent a little bit. And then pin your legs together and lift your hips with your legs straight. Legs straight is option 1, knees bent, feet to the floor is option 2. Point your toes forward if your legs are straight. Lift your heart, straighten your arms, and lower your hips down. How about one more time? Come back up, boat pose. Did I forget half boat last time? Let's do half boat. Exhale, lower the body so you're just hovering off the floor in half boat. And just because I think I missed it last time, let's stay here a little longer. Scissor your legs up and down. Scissor your legs up and down. Scissor your legs side to side. One ankle crosses over the other and then you switch. Which ankle crosses over the other? Inhale back up to boat. Lift your spine up. Exhale, roll onto the back. Lift the hips. Catch the hips in your hands. Either stay here with the legs angled over your head or touch your toes nice and slow to the floor. Plow pose, plow pose, plow pose. Release the hips. Rock back up to boat pose. Lift the spine. Lower the legs to the floor and let's stay here in our Paschimottanasana before we get too gooey in this pose. You're going to take the flesh back and away from your sit bones. Lift up through the spine. You can sit on a blanket here. If your spine tends to round, try sitting on a blanket. That might help to just tilt your hip bones forward a little bit, which will help you to angle forward. So keep your ankles flexed and then start to lengthen and hinge forward over your legs. Whether you touch the feet or not is not really necessary. Hands can stay on the floor, hands can be on your shins. If you can comfortably hold your feet, that's fine, but just don't think that that's a necessary part of the pose. Some people do this pose and they're just more upright like this, and this is fine too. As long as you feel some lengthening going on in the back of your legs, but it's not like tugging in a uncomfortable way, it should still feel fairly pleasant, as much as stretching can feel pleasant. So just how high up you are or how low you are to your legs. Let's inhale, come up. Let's give one more go at our reverse plank. So when I mentioned reverse table, I didn't demonstrate it. This is your option. Instead of having your legs straight, you can have your knees bent, reverse table. Okay? Otherwise, let's give one more shot at our reverse plank. It's been a pretty chill practice for the most part, but this is a bit more of an intense pose. Kind of works almost all major muscle groups in the body. So your hands are slightly turned out, your wrists are under your shoulders, and you start by lifting your heart and bending your knees and pinning your legs together if you're doing the straight leg version. And then lift up more through the spine, and let's lift up through the hips. Try to point your toes forward, straighten your elbows at this point. Look up. I don't recommend looking back. That's not my favorite way to do this pose. It might be a bit of strain on the neck. So if you're okay looking back, then that's okay. But looking up is probably just fine. And then lower the hips. Okay. And sit up. Let's just stretch through the upper back a little bit, and then we'll come down and we'll see if shoulder stand is going to be in our practice today. So you're going to cross your forearms, bring your hands to the inner knees, and then hold on to the shins just below the knees. And then push your feet into the floor and just let your spine round back and stretch across the shoulder blades. And then come up and cross your forearms the other way. And let yourself just round back. Tucking the chin in towards the chest. And then lift yourself back up. Okay. So shoulder stand is one of these poses that not every single person should be doing it. For some of us, the proportions of arm bones to neck bones to spine is just right. Those ratios of bone lengths are just right, that it's a very comfortable pose. For some of us, it's not comfortable at all. And especially if there's if there's herniated discs in your neck, if you know there's anything going on in your neck, this should be a pose. You should be avoiding this pose. And again, it's not something to be afraid of that it's automatically going to hurt you. It really just depends, like what's going on in your body. And for some of us, we can do it until we're 90 years old and hold it for 5 minutes. And other people, their first time doing it, it's just not the right pose for them. I'm going to show you the option before we come up into shoulder stand. So Viparita Karani, we just slide a block under the hips, and if you don't have a block, you don't need it. You can just have your hips on the floor and have your legs up in the air. This is an inversion, and it's quite a nice inversion here. You have the hips a little bit higher than the heart, so you are getting benefits of inversion. Okay? Now, and I do recommend if you do practice in a studio with a live teacher, if I know as I record this, we're in a pandemic and all the studios are shut down. So I do recommend having, though, if you have an opportunity, have a live teacher check out your shoulder stand and make sure that it looks okay. I can't see you, unfortunately. Here's shoulder stand. So I'm gonna rock back a little bit, just get a little momentum and get my hips as high up in the air as I can. So I rock back, hips come up, and I'm gonna hold not just the hips, I'm actually gonna hold the back of the ribs. And I'm going to see if I can get the elbows as far under me as I can. Elbows are not out to the side. And then the hands come higher up on the back of the ribs, and your legs are reaching up into the vertical plane. Now, if this is not comfortable, if you're already struggling with this pose, you can do another half shoulder stand. Remember that one where we held the hips and the legs were just angled over your head. If this feels fairly comfortable, you can stay here for a few breaths. The full pose, shoulder stand, we have the hips right up over, as far over the shoulders as you can, the legs more up in the vertical plane. This is a relatively comfortable pose for me. But I do have a long torso. So if I were to do this on a couple of folded blankets, it would actually be a little more comfortable. So you might want to try propping up a little more. And I will show you in another class. I'll show you some more basics of shoulder stands. Let's do 3 more breaths here. If your hands are sliding down, try to bring them more up onto the back of the ribs rather than on the low back. That'll just get you more lift through the hips. The center of the back of your head is down. A little bit of space between the neck and the floor. And then to come out, lower down into plow or as close to plow as you can get so you can release your hands. And I like to hold on to the edges of the mat with my arms straight, and then I roll my hips down with control, nice and slow. And when we do our shoulder stand, it is nice to finish with a fish pose, but tell you what, since we have our blocks, we'll do a supported fish. So you'll have 2 blocks. One is going to come under the heart and one is going to come under the head. And what this will do is, because in shoulder stand we were compressing the glands in the neck, especially the thyroid gland, so we want to now lengthen them back out again. So 1 block is under the heart, and I have my block in the medium position. You can have it in the low position. 1 block comes under the head, and the block under your head, by the way, can be a little higher. It can be in the high position if you want. And then your arms out to the side, and your legs can either be in a butterfly with the soles of the feet together and the knees wide, or you can have your legs extended forward. Feel free to adjust the block under your heart so that it's under the shoulder blades and it's not digging into the spine. It should feel just like it's just a shelf just propping up your shoulder blades. And then close your eyes here and let the breath just smooth out. Try to get some space in the front of your neck. And if that means the block under your head is a little bit lower, that'll help to elongate the front of your neck, the glands that are there. And if that's not comfortable for your neck, then bring the block into the higher position. Let's do 3 more breaths here. Last breath. And then you'll lift your head, remove that block out of the way. Come onto your elbows, remove the block from under your shoulder blades, and come all the way down onto the back. Bend the knees, hug the legs in towards you. Let's cross the right thigh over the left and hold on to your outer shins. So you're starting to move your shins apart into a V shape. Coming into Supta Gomukhasana, reclined cow face pose. So you can stay here holding on to about the middle of your shins, or you can start to slide your hands farther down towards your ankles or holding on to the outer edges of your feet. The farther you hold, the closer your hands are to your feet, the more your shins will widen, and this will create a stretch through the outer hips, especially the right one. Let's do 2 more breaths here. And then you'll release your legs and cross them the other way, left thigh on top, shins are wide, and then slide your hands down the shins, right about mid-shin. Just stop here and notice if you already feel like you've got a maximum stretch in your outer left hip, then just stay right here. And a little clue, by the way, if you're starting to overstretch the hips, your chin might start to tilt up. So see if that's happening for you. And you want your chin to just be in a neutral position. So if you can slide the hands a little farther down the legs towards your ankles, maybe even holding on to the outer edges of your feet. And if you've got the feet, keep the ankles flexed. It's just widening the shins and it's deepening the stretch in the outer left hip. With the eyes closed here. Do a couple more breaths. And then you'll release the legs and unwind them. Hug the right knee in, extend the left leg forward. Really reach forward through your left foot. And hug the right leg in closer. And then we'll find a twist. Let's cross the right knee over to the left. Reach your right arm out long to the side. Start to roll onto the left hip. The knee does not need to come all the way down to the floor. Just let the knee stop lowering when it needs to stop. When you feel like your lower back is still in a comfortable position and you're feeling a stretch and you can keep the right shoulder blade down, then just let the knee stop where it is. You can even support the right knee with your hand. And then let's inhale and bring the knee back up. Switch your legs. Hug your left leg in. Extend your right leg forward. Can you make your right leg longer as you squeeze the left knee in closer? One more breath. And then we'll twist this. So holding onto the left knee with the right hand, let's guide the left knee over to the right. Reach your left arm out long to the side. Your right hand can either be a sandbag on your left knee, guiding it down, or if you feel like the twist is, you don't want much more twist, you actually want some support, then you can bring the right hand under the knee and it's creating a shelf for the knee. Keep the left shoulder blade down. And then let's bring the left knee back up, feet to the floor. Okay, Shavasana, extend your legs forward, or you can prop something under your legs like a rolled up blanket if you'd like that support under your legs. Let's be here for just a couple of minutes, so find a comfortable position on your back and let the arms be by the side with the palms facing up. The arms are just slightly angled off to the side and your eyes are closed. And the breath here is natural. You're just allowing the breath to move deep into the lungs. Imagine that you're breathing even past your lungs, all the way into the belly. Don't exaggerate the breath. Let it be soft. You're just observing this nice, relaxed, smooth, full, steady breath. If the mind starts to wander, just go back to the breath. Be the witness of your own breath. Okay, now let's begin to deepen the breath. Start to move in the body however you would like to come out of Shavasana, but go slow and start the movement from the periphery. Eventually you might want to bend the knees, place the feet on the floor, or hug the legs in. And then roll over to one side, please. Press yourself up to seated. Hands come together at the heart. And then just close your eyes here, just bowing to the radiance of your own heart and all of the qualities represented by the heart, which are love and compassion, generosity, and lift your gaze. I thank you for joining me today. Give it a thumbs up if you like the class. Feel free to offer any comments so that I love the feedback and it just helps me plan for future classes. So thanks again. Namaste.